None other than John 21. So it's a familiar story, but we want to look at the principles that we can learn. This story is about after Jesus was resurrected, right? Was resurrected, and he appeared to the disciples, all right? Disciples, and this particular incident, he appeared to Peter. Alright, it appeared to other disciples like John and James and others. Alright, and this was a particular time when they went fishing. Alright, they were discouraged that Jesus died, and then so they were discouraged, okay, because he died, right? But he was resurrected, and they still cannot fully comprehend. And as a result, they went fishing. Alright, nothing wrong with fishing, but if you just focus on fishing, your job, go back to your job instead of fishers or men, you become fishing fish. So, and then you did not put the priority, alright, and as a result, that is not right, okay, you must, because you're called to be fishers of men, then you continue to do the job and trust God for His provision, cannot abandon halfway because you know why? Jesus died, but they still couldn't catch the whole thing, And so, what happened at the very night, they caught nothing. Although they were expert fishermen and they were at the right time in the night, and they have the knowledge of the sea, but yet they caught nothing. But Jesus met them, he said, just cast the net on the right. And then they caught 153 fishes, alright? So, and it was so full that the net didn't break. Okay, that was a miraculous sustenance and provisions and protection. So, and then after that, Jesus reminded Peter whether he truly loved him on 3 occasions, not because he remembered his betrayal 3 times. Alright, rather is the importance and the significance of feeding the sheep, tending, caring for the lamb, and all that. And after that, following, he say, okay, you're going to die a martyr death. You'll be going to be crucified upside down. Alright? But then he say, what about John? Jesus said, none of your business. You know why? Other people leave it to Jesus because John did not die a crucified death. John died old age. So different people, different followers. He say, even though you're going to die a martyr death, then you die to be crucified on the cross upside down, but you still must be faithful to me unto death. Okay? So no matter what happened in our life or in our situation, we must be faithful to God unto death. Alright? So how many willing to be faithful to God until you die? All the way. Okay, good. Alright? So this is the story. Now we're going to go into the detail of the story. Okay. Afterward, Jesus appeared again to disciples, but at the seas of Galilee. Simon Peter, Nathanael, and the son of Zebedee, and the 2 other disciples were together. So there are a number of them. So Peter said, I'm going out to fish. And Simon told them, they said, we will go with you. And so they went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught 0. And early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize it was Jesus. He called out to them, friends, haven't you any fish? No, they answered. He said, throw your net on the right. Okay, that means according to God's direction. So in life, we must follow God's direction of the boat, and you will find some. Jesus did not overpromise, because why? Some, but this one is actually full, abundance. So when they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. You see, God is gracious. Okay, all right. He is supposed to go and be fishers of men to become fishers of fish. He is not obeying God. But even then, God extends grace. Why? He still bless them abundantly. Why? Right now, He's full of fish, the net. Then the disciple whom Jesus said to Peter, it is the Lord. Then John was very discerning. He can recognize first. As soon as Simon Peter had heard this, it is the Lord. He wrapped his outer garment around him, for he had taken it off and jumped into the water. Because never shirt behind, in front of the rabbi. It's a kind of a disrespect, right? So he jumped into the water. Then the other disciples followed the boat, towing the net full of fish. Okay, the net was full, right? Jesus just promised them some, right? But in fact, he gave them full. Okay, so it's very careful with our speech. We don't overcommit or overpromise. Alright, so we have to be moderate in our speech like Jesus. Okay, some actually turn out to be full, right? But go the other way, you say full and turn out to be some. No, that's not good. Don't reverse it. Alright, so for they were not from the shore about 100 yards. When they landed, they saw a fire burning with coals, with fish on it, and some bread. Okay, Jesus was a glorified body, right? And this glorified body, but he can still eat, right? That means when we go to heaven, we still can eat. Not because we need to eat, but because it's for hobby or leisure, right? Okay, so Simon climbed back into the boat and dragged the net ashore, and it was full of large fish, right? Large fish, not only small, large. So Jesus is not stingy. I give you a small one, right? He give you a large one. A big fish, right? 153 full of large fish. But even with so many, the net was not torn. Okay? So if Jesus' power, okay, then the net was not torn. So there was no hole. Okay? Your pocket don't have a hole. No? When you walk right with Jesus, your pocket won't have a hole. Meaning to say, so this thing spoil suddenly, that one spoil, and then you got to pay money. Understand or not? So your God will protect you. The TV won't break down. And use it carefully you can, but for many years it doesn't break down. Aircon doesn't break down. Aircon costs money, right? Tire won't pancit, right? And that costs money to repair. So as you walk righteously, your pocket will not be a hole. God will give you the provision and protection. And Jesus said, "Come and have breakfast." None of the disciples asked him, "Who are you?" They knew it was the Lord. So Jesus came, took the bread and gave it to them, and did the same with the fish. And this was the third time that Jesus appeared to disciples after he was raised from the dead. Right? Yeah. So he was raised from the dead. I meet them, right?
Nobody. I sent reminder of it.
Okay, from the dead. When they finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than this?" "Yes, Lord." He said, "You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lamb." Okay, more than this, not more than these people. Okay, this one is not big. Jesus is not comparing. Okay, because he has your own load. We are not to compare. But Jesus said, more than these fishing gears, fishing net, fishing boats. So, and yes, Lord, he said, "You know I love you. Feed my lamb." Okay, look at the lamb. A lamb is a young sheep, right? You see the lamb there? Okay, lamb. Okay, later we talk about a little bit more. Minister to him, and Jesus said, "Simon, son of man, do you love me?" He answered, "Yes, Lord, that I love you." Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." Okay, look at another one, the sheep. Okay?
This one was sheep.
Okay, this one is sheep. And use your reference to people who are too easily influenced or lack naive, simple. Alright, so the sheep are naive, very simple or sometimes very foolish. Right? I know the story about the sheep, right? You go up the hill, other sheep, right? You one jump down, the rest also follow. So that is a kind of mentality of a sheep. So Jesus said, "Let me take care of these sheep." Simple people, sometimes naive, sometimes foolish. Alright? Still got to love them, take care of them. You understand? Right? So we are the sheep. Okay? Let's go on. Then the third time he said to Simon, "Do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time. "Do you love me?" He said, "No, you know all things. You know that I love you. Feed my sheep." So 3 times he's not reminded of his sin, of betrayal, denial, the cock crow, right? 3 times he not for that. And then Jesus said, "Verily I tell you, when you were younger, you dressed yourself and went where you wanted, okay, as you like. But when you're old, you will stretch out your hand, and then you will die a martyr death. And someone else will dress you and lead you where you did not want to go." So he was crucified upside down. Alright? And Jesus said to indicate the kind of death that Peter will glorify God. Then he said to him, follow me. But don't be afraid of what you're about to suffer. I tell you, the devil will put, okay, this one means be faithful unto death, and God will give you a crown of life, okay? And Peter turned and saw the disciple, that's John, whom Jesus loved, was following. And so this was the one who had leaned back, that's John. He said, Lord, who is going to betray, and had said, that means John said, who is going to betray you, right? When Peter saw John, he said, Lord, what about John? And Jesus answered, if I want him to remain alive, in fact he did die of old age, until written, what is that you must follow me? So Jesus is saying that don't compare John with yourself, okay? Different people, different death, different pathway, different destiny. And other people, destiny, you leave it to them. But what we do is that we must feed the sheep, take care, okay? But in church, we give you the guideline, but we want you to like this one, okay? Ask you to behave, then must behave, right? So some they don't behave. So similarly, when God's words to us, different people respond differently. That's why you have the inner circle, Peter, James, and John. Alright? And some who respond very well, some don't respond well. So, same thing. Okay? On earth, in church, same thing. Some they respond, some they don't respond. Some respond very well, some don't respond well. But all receive the same teaching, the same preaching. Alright? So, similarly, Jesus to disciples, he preached to the many, but only some will respond well. Alright? Okay, I want to tell you a second story, related to this story about fishing. Alright? And this story is about Luke chapter 5. It's also talk about fishing. Okay, this story is talking about Jesus who was preaching to a crowd, and because it was so crowded, then he needed to be a distance away from them. So he used whose boat? Peter's boat. Right? So Peter's boat was used because God doesn't choose to use any vessel anymore, right? He chose Peter, and then his partners are Peter, James, and John, right? Peter, James, and John, these are the inner circle, they share the harvest, right? So after, but at night, because they give their time to Jesus, then they go to fish, right? In the night, and they caught nothing, right? Same thing, but Jesus, because they put God first, God knows their needs. Alright? Have you ever come a time where you needed money? Okay, you put God first, needed money. You got the money. The money came on time. I remember once, we at Muslim at the time we went to pay rent. But at the period at the end of the month, December, I remember, we don't have enough money, to pay the rent. So what happened? That night was a watch night, service, So we got to pay rent the next few days, right? Because the rent starts on the first of the every month, right? So what happened that when we went to go shop, somebody ran to us and handed us an envelope, You know what? It was money enough for the rent. You can see that, alright? So when you need the money came on time. Okay, that was God how He did it, right? But now we shifted here. From Muslim. We shifted to Admiralty to here, right? But here we spend 100,000. Right? That time we have less money, right? That time Kalak was with us already. I think so, or maybe, I can't remember. Anyway, but that was the time where we needed the money and the money came. Alright? So when you put God first, God knows your needs. When you need the money is there. You understand? Okay? So what happened was, so they put God first, and then they know that they haven't caught any fish. He said, move a little bit further, cast deep. This one, just now was cast on the right? This one was cast deep, Alright? Just now the incident was after resurrection. This one was before resurrection, right? The same Jesus, right? So he said, move the boat a little bit deeper and cast deep. And then he pull up. Wow! So many, the net never break. He said, one boat not enough. Bring in another boat. And it's overflow, the blessing was so overflowing. So when you do God's will, properly, faithfully, and do it properly and faithfully, your boat will be full of fishes. So don't be afraid. Just do God's work. Just do God's work properly. Then God will bless you. But because you work hard and you study, all of you, same, must work hard. Then your boat will be full of fishes. Alright? So at the end of the day, what happened was there's so many fishes. What happened? You think they continue fishing? No.
Yeah.
They left. They put the boat one side, left everything and followed Jesus. You know why? Because that was a better thing to do for Jesus, right? To save soul, right? That was a better thing. Alright? That was a better thing. So to save soul. And anyway, so what happened was they left everything to follow Jesus because they caught the glimpse of the God's greatness and God's graciousness and God's richest blessing and God's power. Alright? So, and then they have already been fishermen for many years. It's very experienced. They say, all I have is nothing compared to doing the works of God. Okay, eventually, when you're ready, then you become full-time fishers of men, not fishermen. Fishers of men. A fisherman and fishers of men different, right? Okay, so let's look into the story in detail. Okay, let's look at Luke chapter 5 verse 1. One day, as Jesus was standing by the lake, the people were crowding around him and listening to the word of God. And he saw the water edge two boats left there by fishermen washing their nets. And he got into the boats belonging to Peter, Simon Peter, and then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to them, "Put into the deep water and let down the nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we worked all night." Correct? Same at night, right? At night you can catch the fish, and haven't caught anything. But because of what you say, I will let down the net. You can see that they are expert fishermen, and they also work very hard, diligent. So, to him, work very hard, but they also expert, no? They also at the right time, the right season, but they caught zero. You understand or not? So, but Jesus is a master of every trade, right? Master of study, master of work, everything. And because in Jesus are hidden, hidden all treasure. Next time I must go toilet first. Okay, after and all hidden, all treasures, or wisdom and knowledge. Alright. So when they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both boats so full. The word is so full that they began to sink. So full blessing, earthly and material blessing. So God is not a selfish God, right? Not only that, He's very gracious. Even you do wrong, like Peter, he did wrong, but yet God gave him full blessing, right? So this case, this contact is they obey God, they do the God's work, yet God give him the full blessing. You see, one of the principles that you can be so blessed, but that's not the most important thing, right? Because you can be so blessed, yet you don't have Jesus. You understand? Earthly thing you can have a lot, but Jesus is a gracious God. He not only give you full blessing, He also give you eternal salvation. Right? You can live forevermore. And now you believe in Jesus? You believe in Jesus? You can go heaven? Okay, good. Alright. So full blessing, and so the partners are very important. Who are the partners here? Peter, James, and John, right? So very close. So you let us who want to be, partners, must partner someone who are serious for God, who have faith. Or of course I say don't judge, right? But you must be wise to choose your partner. You know why? Because Peter chose who? Peter, James, and John are serious for God, right? Hey, we are raising up people who are serious for God. You understand? Carol, we are raising people who are serious. Okay, no, not serious one. Because you see, the Bible says there are different categories. They have the inner circle, the best three, and then you have the 12, and then you have the 70, and you have the 500. So try to go into the inner circle of Jesus. Understand or not? Be serious. Don't waver. You know what I mean? So in this world you'll be tested, right? You're tested from everywhere. But God says He's faithful. He'll give you the strength to go through. But you must be faithful. You understand? Don't waver. Okay? Don't waver. I mean, so many years I've been serving the Lord, never die, right? Correct or not? Never die. From $300 until today, my salary when I was in 1990 is $300. Who want to work $300? Go overseas, as a pastor. 300, right? My Singaporean friend is doing as a clerical administrator. His pay was 3,000, 10 times my pay, right? Not only that, he got a lot of benefits. I don't have others, right? But until today, still never die, right? Or die, no. You see, right? I cannot explain to you. I also never see so far. 1990 now, 30 years ago, right? I also never see far. Today, so many things I have, and my children are doing well. They are blessed. Family are blessed. I cannot see all this. You understand? But just one step at a time, have the faith. You understand? So you must have faith in God. How many have faith in God? How many dare to be bankrupt for Jesus? Oh, Ila. So are you willing to be bankrupt for Jesus? 破费，不是破费，就是完全的这个什么钱都破产，为耶稣破产吗？你能为耶稣破产吗？
我现在就破产了。
Already broke them.
So, okay, 破产 means when you have the money, then you give all to Jesus. Not when you are poor, then you got nothing. Okay, but there are two kinds of poverty. One is you are poor, really poor. Maybe somehow for one reason or another you are very super poor. I don't know. Maybe because lack of education, because lack of ability, or many other things. Because you don't have education, all that. That's why you become very poor. That's one category. All right. But the category I'm talking about is when you are so rich, actually, you give up all the money, then you become so poor. That's a category I'm saying. 你有很多钱，但是你因为了耶稣，你舍弃了这些钱，投资在神的国度，所以成为一个破产没钱。这类了。Second category I'm talking about. Right, so more of the second category, not of the first category because of whatever reason. Of all these people, they need help. Having said that, but Jesus was rich in heaven. He came to earth, he became poor, so that we may be rich. So we must have the ability to make wealth, so that we can give to God's kingdom. Alright, so this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's move on. When they had done so, they called such a number. So they signaled their partners and come and help. And they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. Alright? So here is talking about the boat never sink, right? The nets never break because Jesus' protection and sustaining rain. When the Israelites walk in the desert for 40 years, their sandals never break. Can you imagine 40 years never break? Correct or not? So that is God's sustenance.
Your sandal break already.
Okay, let's go on. When Simon saw this, he fell at Jesus' feet and said, "Go away from Lord, I am a sinful man." For he and his companion were astonished at the catch of fish they have taken. So were John and Peter. It was the inner circles, okay? So when you are inside the inner circle and God revealed to you, and then you are able to see the thing you see, okay? So, but some people outside the inner circle, they may not see. So if you have close level of intimacy, then you can see. So they pulled their boats upshore and left everything. Can you imagine? They got so many fishes. Wow, so amazed, then they left everything. Okay, that's how they bought ice cream. I said, okay, this small boy wanted to have ice cream. I say, today I buy for you. Right, but because we try not to make it habit. The reason why, because if you cough, you cannot take ice cream. Sometimes you take ice cream, then you drop everywhere. Another thing, you take ice cream, because it's slow, then I got to, that's why we late, correct or not? Because they queue up, quite long queue, actually went to queue. Then late, no? And how late, then that's why we keep late. So these are the things that will happen, one affect another, right? Okay? And then the other thing is, she bought for 1, 2, 3, 4 person. I say buy 4. So she bought 3. But she herself don't have. I said, why you don't buy for herself? She doesn't need. Alright?
I yesterday eat 300.
Okay, good. Alright? So she can discipline. Good. And then not only that, she stay behind and look after this small one. Because this small one eat ice cream, he walks slow. So she got to take care of him. Right? So that is a good sign. Okay, good sign that you look after him. Alright? So what I'm trying to say here is that they have all the fishes, right? But not because of the fish, they stick to the fish, right? They don't stick to the fish. They give up the fish and they follow Jesus. Why? Because this one said this thing cannot compare with fishes of men. It is much better. Alright? So there's a self-control here. So don't be overwhelmed by the material things. Wow, material things like demons, then you follow the world. So we must have discipline. Alright? So behave, hey, behave, don't you get distracted. Affect the flow of the message. After that I stop halfway, then I gotta instruct you or tell you, and then you affect the flow, right? You know what I mean? It's not a video, no? Alright? Understand? Okay, So this area, so this is another example of the blessing of Jesus, right? Okay, this one they serve Jesus. Okay, just now the other one, the first incident that they discouraged, alright? But in both incidences, God is gracious. So we must be gracious as well. Okay? Always, okay? The three things that is very good. We mentioned the three things. What are three things they experience? First thing, the G.
Jesus.
The what of Jesus?
Jesus.
I just mentioned three things.
Jesus.
The greatness of Jesus. Second one, the second G.
Sorry, what?
Not good, glory, and gold, no?
Greatness.
This time, no, but this one is the G, yeah?
Greatness.
Greatness, second G.
Second letter is what?
G.
Second letter
Hey, graciousness of Jesus. Okay?
Never listen.
The greatness, the graciousness of Jesus. And the other one is, start with R.
Respect.
What? RB.
Respect.
Respect, you must pay attention. Richest blessing. Remember the three things I mentioned: the greatness of the experience, the greatness of Jesus, the graciousness of Jesus, and the richest blessing of Jesus. The three things. Very importantly, remember, to this, God is great and gracious and blessing. But yet, in the end, they say, wow, that who God is, right? And then they left everything and followed Jesus. Alright? So they are willing to be bankrupt for Jesus, right? And the Bible says that in Mark, it says that when you are bankrupt for Jesus, alright, at the end of the day you have everything. In this present age and in the age to come, alright? So that takes faith. So, as I said already, we want to raise all of you here to become martyr for Jesus. Okay, they are willing to die for Jesus. Alright? And so that your life will be richly blessed, and then you will grow in wisdom and in God's love. Alright, sacrificial.
Instead of there, what is the God's love?
Okay, the one later they discuss. Okay, now we move on. Okay, when I talk about God will bless you in the book of Mark presently, the context is talking about, Jesus was saying that this rich man, he has honored his father and his mother. Okay, right? A quiz. Just now, there's not a story about this rich man, right? A rich man, he told Jesus, how can I be saved, right? Jesus said, what can I be saved? Then what the man says, what? I have honored my father and my mother. But is it enough? Is it not enough? So what's the thing that this man is not enough? He lacked. What's the thing that he lacked?
Love for God.
Okay, no, I'm talking specifically in that context. What was the thing that he lacked? He cannot do. What's the thing? That's why he didn't make it. Anyone know the story? Sorry, yeah?
Donate.
Yeah, he didn't give to God. You know why? He got so much money, the money, he dare not part. And as a result, he lacked, he didn't make it. You understand? Because he hold back to his money. You understand? So, the pattern of Jesus is Jesus say what? Sell all you have, correct? And give to the poor, then you will have treasure in heaven. Say, give all you have. Wow, imagine for the man to give up all his wealth, right? Okay, and then come and follow me. So, how many want to follow Jesus? What did Jesus say? You want to follow Jesus, you must give what? First give. Give your all. Yeah, correct. Give your all. Give your all, right? The Bible says, right? Okay, let's look at this verse. Look at the verse. Verse 21. Is it 21? Yeah, 21. Sacrificial giving. Verse 21. Okay, this one. He said what? Jesus looked at him and loved and said, one thing you lack. Go sell everything you have. And what? And give to the poor. Then and what? And you have treasure in heaven. Then what happened? When you have given all that you are willing to bankrupt for Jesus, then Jesus said what? Then you are qualified to follow me. You see that? You see a lot of people they're not part the money. The criteria, they don't meet the criteria really. Correct or not? He said, then come and follow me, So you must be a giver. Then eventually you give of yourself. Right? In money you cannot give. Let alone about giving yourself, right? Cannot, right? So you must start with giving your money. So the principle is you must start giving your money, then later on you give of yourself. Jesus said, then you are qualified to follow me. A lot of people they are not qualified to follow Jesus because they hold back their money. They can do so many things, honor their parents, whatever they say we don't well. But the thing they're not giving to God. You see the point there? They're not giving. So, still want to follow Jesus? Must give up all that you have, You see that? Priority of giving.
Only if I didn't get that much. I don't know, I want to put the money inside the case.
Okay. So next week, go and bring offering and give to God. Right? Start giving. Okay? Give to God. Later the offering, I give to God the offering. Okay? To expand God's kingdom. So this man, because of his unwillingness to give the money, alright, to invest in God's kingdom, that's why he lacked. He's not qualified. Okay, let's turn to the last part. Okay, the last part of the story is talking about Moses, when the Israelite was ministering to the Israelite, right? He was settling their problems, their dispute. And then, because you say when he was one person doing solving the problems, and because there are so many of them, everybody queue, everybody cannot go home. He himself also very tired because there are so many cases to solve, right? So the father-in-law came, hey, what you are doing is no good. You better select capable men who dishonest gain, right? He hate dishonest gain, and men who are capable and trustworthy, all right? And make them leaders, okay, leaders. And what are three things they must do? Anyone know the story? Jethro telling Moses, what are three things they must do? Anyone? Three things. What? Gerald, what's the first thing? What's the three things he must do? Jethro told him, select capable men and tell them three things they must do. What are three things?
Is it quality?
If you don't know the story, then you don't know the principle. You know the story?
Is it beheaded?
Don't go anyhow guess. You guess with knowledge, okay? With knowledge, with them means you have read the story. Anyone have read the story? You don't know, Okay, the three things is the first thing, teach them the word. Yes or no? Teach them the word. Second thing, must teach them to be an example. Right? The second thing that Jesus is looking for is being an example. Okay, of faith. Like Paul told me, be faith in giving. Alright? Your life, everything. First thing is teach them the word. Second thing, teach them to be a model to others. What's the third thing they must do? The work they must do for God. Okay, the work cannot be lazy. Must do more and more. These are the three things they need to do for God. Alright? Then select people who hate dishonor gain, not because of money. They serve God not because of money. Alright? So, there was a portion in the titles. You know why Okay, the money is very important. The money, this money must use to invest in the right people, not the wrong people. You know why? Because otherwise you invest in the false prophet, and the false prophet take the money and go and preach wrong doctrine. And that's terrible. Okay? So in the context of Titus, you say invest wisely. You don't invest on the false prophet, raising up false teachers, raising up true teachers. You understand? Because why you give this money to the false teachers, then the true teachers will not have the money. You understand? So your investments must invest on the right teachers. Alright? Teachers who are truly loving God. Alright? Not teaching the wrong teaching. Because teaching the wrong teaching, then their behavior will be affected, their character will be affected, everything go haywire. So we are here to teach you the right things, not the wrong things. Okay? So, and rise up, be strong. Okay? And as a student, your stewardship, we always teach, you know why we are not in a hurry, to hurry you out to go full time, and forget about your study. No, we don't do that. You know why? Because especially in Singapore, all the more you need to have qualification. You know why? Next time you got problems. Because Singapore, you have a real problem, you don't have qualification. Okay? We don't need to be in a hurry. At a young age, haven't finished your study and you want to fly already, right? You do this. We don't want. We want you to be balanced. Okay, to be a good steward, because as a student, your stewardship is to do excel in your study, so that you can get a good job, so you can contribute to your family, you contribute to God's kingdom. You can be a great blessing. Right? Don't be the so-called a burden. A burden. Okay, a burden to your family or to anybody. All right, unless you are by naturally handicapped, then would say. Okay, so you must give whatever talent that God has given you the opportunity and go in and make wealth for the glory of Jesus. And because God is give you the power. God can give you the power to make wealth. You understand? So Paul said, I work with my hands and and share my money with my allowance with my fellow workers. And it's more blessed to give than to receive. You see that's the principal teaching. So we want you not to be in a hurry, but we want you to be balanced, to set aside the Sabbath, the Saturday or Sunday or both to God. As you want to attend twice is whenever you can make it, but at least start with one. You understand? So you can be strong, excel. Alright? So we are teaching you the right teaching. Don't be in a hurry. Hey, you know why I'm saying? Because I tell you, my friend last time, they study in the university, NUS. Then what happened? They are so involved in God's work in their church. Okay, it's not in church, not para church, so it's in the church. They are so involved until they have no time for their study, they cannot kick out from the university. We don't want that to happen to you. You understand? Okay? Of course, we want every day you come to church and serve God. Everybody you go out and evangelize with us. But we also consider for your future. You understand? We're not selfish. We do not want you to neglect your study. That's why we are teaching you. Two of my friends, they were in the university and then cannot kick out. How the parents feel? Hey, so much effort put you, then end up you what? You cannot drop out from the university. You understand? So we don't want that to happen to all of you. But we want you to balance. Put God first. Put God's kingdom first. You understand? So that you can excel. Okay? Okay. Alright, let's go to the conclusion. Okay, what's the conclusion? Say, Jesus, although you may be an expert, you work hard and you have worked fish at the right time, but yet you can still catch nothing. Okay? So in life, you need to depend on Jesus. And Jesus give you the direction. Cast on the right. Go further and cast it. There must be God's way. And Peter said, because what you say, we follow. So there must be 100% obedient. Then you will be blessed. And you must be gracious. Will not go. Okay, Peter, of course, he did not. He go fishing, right? But yet God was gracious. Okay, we make mistake, but God is gracious. Okay, He can still to bless you by the same time, and then make you realize that He loves you, and then you realize that you are wrong. Okay, so and you must catch a glimpse. They have caught a glimpse of God's greatness, graciousness, and richest blessing. And they are not protected, their nets were not torn, their boat did not sink, they did not die, or the money, their pocket become have a hole. Understand or not? And then, and He knows their need, okay, He gives ample provision. And So, and leave others to Jesus, okay? Leave others to Jesus. I need to cast deep to catch small and big fishes. Okay, sacrificial giving is the pattern, right? The rich man cannot make it to heaven because why? He's not willing to let go of his money. You understand? And better still, willing to be bankrupt the next day for Jesus. Select capable men from all people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain. And then must teach, be example, and then assign them the works to do for God. Okay, so these are the three things. So today, here basically I'm saying that how many are willing to be bankrupt for Jesus once again and follow Jesus? Alright? But make sure now we collect offering already, no? Alright? Give generously to God. Okay, according to your faith, your ability to give. Alright? Some can give beyond. Alright? So, okay, let's say a prayer. Let's say a prayer first. Alright? Okay, let's all those who want, please stand. And let's say the prayer to Jesus. Okay, let's say Jesus. Come, stand.
Start this one, I can start.
Yeah.